standing room only. Something is happening in Arizona. Oh my gosh, this is so beautiful. This guy's been with me the whole time. Every single rally, I call him the Silver Fox. Oh man. Are we, okay, I'm doing the math here. Are we 3 days or 4 days from election? 4 days. We're kind of almost 3, right? 3.5 days? Whatever it is, we're going to win big. Do you need it? And we have such an amazing movement. Blake is, I don't want to say like a son because I'm not that old, but we've become really good friends. And Mark and Abe, we are in this together. We are in this to save Arizona. I'm so excited about it. And I see Roxana here. Roxana is a Republican former police officer running in Tempe and South Scottsdale. She's awesome. She's running against, and it's normally a Democrat district, but the Democrats don't show up for work. Shocking, I know. The guy she's running against showed up like, how many days? 6 days out of a gazillion days. And he already vowed, if you re-elect him, he's going to not show up this session. And he's actually a candidate. I mean, that should be enough to knock him out. So they're going to vote for Roxana, the great Republican. And we've got Wendy Rogers down here. Wendy Rogers is a grandma who loves her grandbabies. And she fights for Arizona. And I'll tell you what, because she fights for Arizona, you know how many text messages I got last session? You need to separate and back away from Wendy Rogers. I said, hell no. She fights for Arizona like no one I've ever seen. Just like they say, back away from President Trump. I will never back away from fighters who love this state.
Well, it was Kari who would text me also and back me up. And it wasn't her fight, but she was there for me. And that would be at like 11:15 at night. And she would text me and say, I'm behind you, never give up, you're over the target, let's win this.
So big, she said, Kari, I don't need to, I already won. And so I'm going to work for you. And she's been in front row of every one of these rallies we've done. I had to call her up because I just want you to know, when they were attacking Wendy Rogers, the person who was standing up the most for Arizona, and they were trying to get me to back away from her, I said, that's not who I am. That's right. I don't back away from the people. If I back away from Wendy, then that means I back away from you. And I will never back away from the good people of Arizona. So, I love you too. We just came from the border today. We were in Cochise County, and boy, they have it tough down there. The border is so complex here in Arizona. You can't just compare us to any other border. We've got the Yuma sector, we have the Tucson sector, we have what's happening on the Indian reservations. We have a situation where the what they're called gotaways are coming across. We've got 5 million people or more, I believe, who've come across since Joe Biden took office. Can you believe in the first 10 minutes of his administration, his priority was to strip away an incredible border policy that President Trump had put in place? In the first 10 minutes. I mean, you think you'd want to settle into the White House. No, he said, we've got to make that border wide open and let everybody come across. And he did that in 10 minutes time. We've had more than 5 million people. We've had fentanyl pour across at levels that would just blow your mind. We've finished the wall. That's right, we're going to. I was actually down there today, and there's about a block, maybe a half a mile of fencing and the materials that are for the wall. Guess who paid for those? We did. We did. Guess who's going to take them back and use them? We are. We're going to do that right away. Wendy and the legislature is going to help us redefine that as abandoned federal property. We're taking it back. We're going to finish President Trump's plan. have a united Republican force. Somebody said it's so rare to see, you know, the AG, the Senate candidate, the governor candidate, the Secretary of State, all of you working together. Usually politicians are pretty selfish and greedy. Not the Republicans. We are working together as a team. And we're going to work for you. So we were down there today, and I know that as bad as the border is, it's in a really bad place right now. I have so much hope because I know we're going to win, and I know that the Republicans are willing to put the hours in, show up at work, and do the job. And we're going to do that and secure that border. But so every day is 521 days on the campaign trail. Not that I'm counting, but my staff told me it was that long. It actually feels like one very long day, to be honest. And, you know, we've had so many great experiences. I actually stood up here very early on for an Arrowhead women's Republican group. You remember that? You probably lined it up really early on when I first announced. And so I feel like we've been through a million battles since then. But yesterday was really one of those, kind of a pinch me day. Guess who came out and attacked me? Barack Obama. He was talking about me, and it was so funny. I'm living rent-free in Barack Obama's mind. And I didn't actually listen to his speech until today. I was on Fox and they were playing some of it, and I'm like, wow, I'm really living rent-free. He went on and on. And they have nothing to attack us on. Okay, they attacked Trump for his tweets. I'll take a mean tweet any day. How about you? Well, they can't attack me. My tweets aren't mean. They're funny, but they're not mean. They attacked him, orange man bad. I'm not orange, and neither is he, by the way. Unless the cameras try to mess with the color. So they can't attack me on that. They can't attack me for, not being able to articulate things. I've got a little experience in that. We have great policies, so they can't attack us on that. So you know what he attacked me on? The fact that I worked on TV. He attacked me for being articulate, and he attacked me for having good lighting in my home studio. That's all they got. I was like, oh, this is so classic. Their attack on me is that I have good lighting. This is how desperate they are. So I laughed when Obama was attacking me. I laughed when Liz Cheney came in and attacked me. She spent $500,000 running attack ads on us, and we made $750,000. Invites the worst of the worst. I would die of shame if this man came anywhere near me. Eric Holder. This was the guy that ran the gun running scheme that ended in the death of one of our brave Border Patrol agents, Brian Terry. She's actually arm in arm with this guy, and she's thinking that's a good thing. That's somebody who's out of touch, truly. I mean, this woman doesn't know what she's thinking, but one thing did scare me. Yesterday, I heard Hillary Clinton talking about it. You might be right on that. Let's see what we can do. You know what? The fake news is going to run with it. I don't even care what they say. But so I'm fearless. I really am. I mean, once you walk through fear and you come out on the other side and are fearless, you really don't care about all these people. But I will tell you, there was a little tinge of fear when Hillary Clinton started talking about me. I said I went on Fox, I said, I just want everyone to know I'm in perfect health. We've recently had our car serviced and the brakes are in perfect working condition. And I am not suicidal. Let the record be shown. Hillary and Bill, just stay away from Arizona. So I'm joking now. We're a few days away. I'm a little stir crazy from all the craziness that's been going on. But I think you all know where we stand, where we Republicans stand. We want common sense solutions, and we need them. We have a wide open border. I'm the first candidate in the governor's race to start talking about that. When I got into this, there were a few people who were in politics who said, just don't talk about the border. Don't talk about Trump. Don't talk about COVID. Don't mention the vaccines. And I'm like, that's everything we care about. Get away from me. We're going to talk about what people care about. We're going to secure the border. Starting on day one. We have to. We're going to stop the flow of fentanyl. We are going to fully fund our police. Restore law and order. And you see these amazing, beautiful, precious babies over here? We're doing it for these guys. We are here, all of us in this room. I want you precious kids to know, each and every one of these adults you see here, all of us old people, we are here for you guys. We love you guys. How many mama bears, papa bears, grandma bears, and grandma bears are in this room? Are you voting on Tuesday like your grandkids and your babies depend on it? What they're doing to our kids is what I think got a lot of moms and dads involved. They just told me the other day when we were looking at our numbers, they said, guess what? The suburban moms, the mama bears are moving Republicans so fast. The Democrats' heads are spinning. And it's because the left did the stupidest thing in the world. I mean, you'd have to understand nature. You don't get between a mama bear and her baby cub. It's the most dangerous place in the world. And when you do that, we're going to rip you to shreds. So we found out, and people like Wendy know this, she worked with Katie Hobbs when Katie was in the legislature. Katie Hobbs voted against the border wall. She voted against the virtual border wall. She voted against funding the border strike force to save us from border crimes. Twice she voted against that. At the same time, she put her name on legislation, sponsoring legislation to introduce sex education starting in kindergarten. I can't even think, I don't even think Democrats are for that, right? That's sick. And call it what you want. If he said she's a pervert, maybe, I don't know. That's degenerate. That's a degenerate. And I'm going to tell you this. I don't have a 5-year-old anymore, but our precious kids, if any adult wants to talk to these precious children, are you 5? This little precious stand up, sweetie. You see how precious this guy is, guys? He's 5 years old. He's probably 6. And I don't want to get graphic here, but you know what I'm talking about. Anybody who's an adult who wants to talk to these precious kids about that should be nowhere near a school. And that's what Katie Hobbs wants. And I couldn't figure it out. I thought, why? And why is she supporting on her website? I don't even know what they call it. They've got some fancy gender affirmation surgery for our children. She supports that. And I thought, why would she do that? She's a mother. Her husband, turns out, we found out yesterday, is a child psychiatrist who specializes in transitioning our children. She's making money off of it. It's disgusting. Listen, I have a compassionate heart, and if someone's dealing with that issue, I have compassion. But keep it out of our kids' schools. Keep it out of our kids' minds. Don't brainwash our children, and we're going to change things up. If it's okay with you, we're not going to teach that garbage in school. Are you? If it's okay with you, we're going to get back to some of the basics: reading, writing, arithmetic. I'm a product of public school. My father was a public school teacher. He was a football coach. He taught history and government and the Constitution, which we need to teach a little more of lately.
Yes.
And God rest his soul, I think he would be pretty shocked at what's happening in America. But we have a real opportunity on Tuesday to turn this whole thing around. We took a wrong turn a long time ago. And we need to get back on path and get going in the right direction. And I have so much confidence and faith because I'm seeing a lot of people out on these rallies we're doing. We do sometimes 2 and 3 a day. And I ask people, go back 4 years ago. Would you have found yourself in the middle of the week, although we're on Friday now, because we have the same social life now. Friday nights, we're rallying. But, we have people who show up on a Tuesday night at 6 p.m. And I say, how many of you 3 or 4 years ago would have found yourself coming to listen to politicians? Raise your hand if you would have. There's a few of you. There's a few. Wendy, you probably would have. No, Wendy wouldn't have either. There's a few of you. Look at this crowd, fake news. 3 or 4 years ago, none of these people were in it. This is how awake America is right now. Change. We're ready to get back to some of the basics. We're ready to get back to the America that we know. And we want to make sure that these precious babies over here have the freedoms we have, the liberties we have, the rights we had, and the America that we had. And we're bringing it back. Is anybody ready for that? I just love this crowd so much because I see Arizona. I see people who've been here forever. We've got some probably 3rd and 4th, maybe 5th generation Arizonans. We probably have some escapees from California here. Quite a few. Some of them look like this. The blue states are escaping. I think there's a whole new industry, Wendy, that we can capitalize on. It's called blue state ignorance. And as the blue states push people away, drive people away, they're searching for a common sense state, and they're coming to Arizona. And we can actually capitalize on the businesses that want to flee these states. But I have a question for you. How do you get those businesses? You got to go talk to them. And if you've got an opponent, my opponent won't even stand on a stage with me and debate. She's a coward, and I think she's insecure because she can't communicate. She will not debate. She would not debate me. And that, it's not, maybe she's afraid. It's not about me. That to me, I don't care if she disrespects me. It really doesn't bother me. I do care that she's disrespecting you and the people of Arizona. A debate is a job interview. And if you don't show up for the job interview, you don't get the job. Right? And so, can you imagine, we're trying to bring some companies who want to escape, all these states over. And she, when she was thrown a softball question at a forum, that she finally showed up for, by the way, only with but she put all sorts of restrictions. She said if Kari Lake's going to be in the building, she has to park a block away. This is true. She has to enter through a different door. We have to put drapes up in the hallway so I can't even catch her glimpse. I thought, am I that scary? So she shows up for the forum and they throw her softball questions. They ask me the tough questions. They throw her softball questions. One of them was, name one good thing about the Latino community. Can you imagine, Wendy's never been asked a softball question. Can you imagine being asked, just name one good thing about the Latino community? And she sat there for a minute and a half. Un poquito. She said that. Which was a little, just a bit. And it was so embarrassing. And my husband is Latino, my children are Latino. They were horrified. They said, is that the best she can do? Honestly, Mom. Honestly, Mom. So can you imagine someone who can't even handle a softball question going to bat for Arizona, trying to bring businesses here? having to go up against great governors like Ron DeSantis and Kristi Noem and Glenn Youngkin. We're going to get our clocks cleaned with someone like that. Not to mention that she has been twice convicted as a racist. I don't know if you know that because the fake news won't report it. Twice convicted racist, costing Arizona nearly $3 million because she paid a woman of color, a single mom, $30,000 less than the men in the office doing the same job. And the woman found out about it and said, wait a minute, why are you paying me less? And Katie Hobbs, rather than saying, let's remedy this right away, she fired her. And she lost 2 court cases. When she lost, that means we have to pay for her racism. And we're paying nearly $3 million. And I'm only telling you that, not because I want to talk about Katie Hobbs, I don't, but the fake news media won't cover that.
People need to know.
People need to know, you're right.
Yes.
I saw her with a group of African Americans, and I thought, they don't know. And here we have Barack Obama showing up, ignoring her racism, trying to convince people to vote for a twice convicted racist. It's really despicable. We're not going backwards. Arizona loves everyone, and we're not going to discriminate in Arizona. We're not discriminating in Arizona. We're not discriminating based on your skin color. We're not teaching our children to be racist in school. We don't care what your background is. We don't care what zip code you grew up in. If you love freedom, if you want to work hard and achieve the American dream, we want you to have it here in Arizona. Real quick, because these are policies that I think, I know things are good up here in Arrowhead, but we've noticed in some parts of town the homeless population is growing. Have you seen it? Yeah. Is it happening up here in Arrowhead?
Yeah.
We're turning into California.
We're turning into California, this guy says. We're not going to turn into California. We're going to stop that. And this is why I came up with a policy to combat chronic street homelessness. We got to do it. We need to get people help, and we will provide help, drug treatment, mental health help. But we're no longer going to allow people to live in a tent on the street using drugs. It's not compassionate. That's not compassion, guys. The policies we have in place, many of these policies put in place by leftists, have been enabling people to continue to fester, use drugs, and fall further into despair. We're stopping those, and we're going to start lifting people up and getting them help. And we're going to start showing some compassion for the hardworking, tax-paying people who want their streets and parks back. We want to enjoy our streets. So we will, with tough love, get people into treatment. If they refuse treatment, they're going to find that Arizona is not a very easy place to live, because we're not going to put up with this anymore. We want safety. We want safety. And we're going to fully fund our police, go back to broken windows policing. That means we don't look away from crime, we address crime. And finally, I'm so excited about this because, as I said, my dad was an educator. I went to public school, and I really think this might be the way to help save public school. We fund the student, not the system, which is so awesome. So awesome. And the public schools, some of them are upset about it. Katie Hobbs is upset. She wants to force your kids into a school that's failing. But we're going to do something that is the American way, introduce competition into school. That's going to improve schools. And so when you take your kids out of a school that's not working for them and you start moving them to one that is, pretty soon that school that's not working is going to have to reassess. And we want to help them reassess. We want to bring back trade school training, vocational training, career certification, right there in high school. So our kids can get out of high school ready to take on the jobs that are out there. There's some good jobs. How many of you had skill training in your life, trade skill training? Okay, these are the really smart ones. They're probably the richest ones in the room, by the way. You can make more as an electrician than an architect.
Right.
We need electricians, we need plumbers, we need truck drivers, and we need to start giving our kids the skill training they need to get the good jobs out there. And that will propel our future. So I just want you to know, I know we're like 3 days away. I know we're exhausted by what's been going on the last few years. How many of you wake up in the middle of the night sometimes thinking, can it get any worse than this? Well, I'm here to tell you, when you vote on Tuesday, it's going to start getting better fast. We're turning it around, guys. We're turning it around. We're going to vote for common sense policies. The new Republican Party is not the party of Mitch McConnell. It is the party of we the people. And when you elected me to be your governor, I'm going into the governor's office, and guess who the boss is? You. You guys are the boss. I'm listening to you. That's why I'm in this. I didn't get into politics for fame. I've already had that. It's overrated. And I'm not getting into it for fortune. There is absolutely no money in being governor of Arizona. I'm getting into this because I love you, I love Arizona, and a little bit selfishly, I want a good future for my kids. And your kids. So, let's do some heavy praying in the next 3 days. We gotta start bringing God back into our lives. Anybody agree with that? We gotta bring God back into our culture, and God back into our hearts. And we gotta vote on Tuesday like our lives depend on it. And our babies' lives depend on it. Are you ready to vote? Yeah!